Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History. In this video I want to take you for a little trip not far away from Sharon, about 13 miles to Medfield, Massachusetts. You probably drove on Route 27 before and you were admiring this awesome pond and the mill itself. So as I said, it's in Medfield. You just drive on Route 27. It shouldn't take you more than half an hour. If you go past Spring Street, you are too far. So this is a lovely little place to stop by, admire the old mill, and go for a little tiny walk on the pond. So this property is owned by town of Medfield. It was purchased in the 1980s from the last owner, Blanche Kingsbury. That's where the name Kingsbury came from. And now the town takes care of it, but also incredible group of volunteers that call themselves Grist Mill Committee. There was one before that did incredible amount of work as well. I would like to thank them because I really appreciate all they are doing. And all the restoration is based on donations. So the building itself was constructed over 300 years ago, and it is really incredible mechanical structure that apparently served as pattern for other mills in the area. It's one of the oldest ones. It was in operation, we believe, from about 1718, and then it changed its purpose a little bit, and little addition was put on the side. And in about 15 years ago, when the committee was interested and was very involved, they did tons and tons of renovation. They added another turbine, which is like old-fashioned wheel, but it's sideways, and they take care of it, and they do a really amazing job. So the structure itself is wooden backed post and beam, which was very typical to colonial times. There are no nails at all. You would only see the pegs. It's really incredible. And when you enter the building, it will remind you an old ship. There are huge beams, basically made from the whole trunks of the trees. There is a little connection with Sturbridge village, because when the town of Medfield was basically splitting up, the king gave them the land where Sturbridge village is now in exchange. It was called New Medfield, and apparently the mill that's in Sturbridge village is a copy of Kingsbury grist mill. When it comes to use, we call it grist mill. However, it started originally as malt house. Then it became grist mill, and in the last, 100 years probably, it was a sawmill. So if I tell you a little tiny bit about malt house, if you like beer, you heard the word malt for sure. So basically when you harvest barley, you have to soak it, that softens it, then you drain it, then you ferment it, and it uses lots of heats, eventually germinates, and then you have to put it on like flat surface, and that's where it dries, so eventually you can distribute it. So the malt houses were used for drying, for the process of the drying. That eventually was abandoned, the process itself. It changed, the brewers changed the method, and that's when the mill changed into grist mill. If I tell you a few interesting things about the history of ownership, basically, the first 13 settlers that came to Medfield, one of their sons, Captain Joseph Clark, basically built the mill in 1718. At that point, he probably turned the meadow into a pond as well. Later, hundreds of years later, the pond was actually called Clark Smith Pond, and there's possibly interesting connection to Sharon, because Clark Smith married Caroline Morse, and they had daughter that married Kingsbury. That's where the Kingsbury name came from. In 1987, Blanche Kingsbury was the last owner, and after her death, the town bought the property in 1989. So unfortunately I wasn't able to go inside, but if you call up for appointment due to COVID, they are still just doing visits by appointment, but they are hoping to open out to regular hours on Sundays. So that would be your chance to see the interior, which looks amazing. There are a few YouTube videos online you can check. The main goal of these efforts is to turn the place into a museum that will be educational but also a great recreation and hopefully practical as well. It seems that the committee already is making deals with different companies to sell stone grind flour. It seems like incredible effort of many people who have real love for history that are chipping in. So I highly encourage you to visit the place and possibly volunteer or donate money as well. I hope you enjoyed this. Just a few facts. I drove by this place many times and I never knew what it is, so I'm glad I caught up. So thank you for watching Sharon Local History, and I hope you will have a chance to visit this place. Thank you.